And welcome to another episode of the Dosage podcast. For those live with us here on Twitch during recordings, thank you so much. You can join us live for every one of these on Tuesday nights, so feel free to do so. If not, of course, you've found this on YouTube or you have found this on podcast platforms like Google, Apple, or Spotify, among others. But we are back with another episode of the Dosage. This is episode 125, and I have on audio with me tonight the one, the only, Andrea Lana. Who is first?
God fucking
Hello?
damn it!
I got the alert right when you said hello. Oh, that's funny. Funny timing. Good timing.
What's with kids today, huh?
Thank you guys.
I do
for
my
the
best.
You've got mail.
We've got mail. Anyways, welcome everyone. This is 125. What we're talking about tonight on the itinerary, for those that don't know, we're going to be discussing the year 2010 in video games, continuing our All the Good Culture series, talking about the good culture. Whether it's good or not, well, it's a top 10 list, so I'd have to assume this is the good part of it. Would you agree?
I mean, you know what they say about assuming, but okay.
It's you know, you're not wrong there. So yeah, this is 2010. When I was making this list, I'm like, this holy crap. That was 11 years ago when we're recording this, because it's 2021.
I need to run down to the living room because I just realized that I sent myself the wrong list. Oh, that's funny.
Well, while you're doing that, I will give the... Jeez, good Lord. While you're doing that, I'll recap.
Well, that planning. Best laid plans.
Hey, at least you have a list first, so I'm happy for that.
Yes.
So 2010, to give you an idea, I was playing a lot of video games this particular year in my life. I would have to safely assume that you were as well.
Much more than in previous years. Yeah, absolutely. This is the first time where I've had like extra games.
You mean by honorable mentions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I struggled with making a list.
So,
you know.
This is, for me, before college, before children. We were leaving Grand Rapids and moving to Ann Arbor. For those that didn't know, this was 2 years before marriage. This was when we had a lot of time on our hands, and we had GameFly. For those that don't know, this is not sponsored by GameFly, but shout out to them. We played a lot of games because of that service. So just kind of paint
Do
the
they
picture.
still exist?
GameFly, yeah, it still exists. I still get emails all the time on like deals and discounts, and then they want us back. And they're like, a free month, you know? I'm like, no, but Game Pass is a thing now. Why would I want GameFly?
Mm-hmm.
I could just download the game and then, like, come on. 2010 was when Mikey graduated college and spent most of his post-college playing games 14 hours a day. That's what I mean. Like, this was primetime gaming, you know, for us as well. And again, shout out to all the people that are with us on Twitch and for the hosts. Thank you so much for that. So to continue painting the picture that 2010 was, Xbox Live for the original Xbox console and games was discontinued. I remember this specifically because I had reached out to Staple Gun, aka Justin, who helps me out with the music podcast. I said, hey, they're closing down these servers. We need to hop on Halo 2 one last time. Because at that point, we're like, we're never going to be able to play Halo 2 in these maps online ever again in our lives. People kept the server going for weeks because they shut it off. But as long as people were playing, it didn't shut off officially. So those people just kept going and playing and playing and playing. And eventually it was just dead. But I remember that, and I was like, this is it. This is my goodbye to Halo 2, which was a topic of discussion on a previous episode, how it was ranked. You're still bitter about that, it seems, Lana?
Yes.
Yes, she says. Wow. Such a deep response. But yeah, so that's what happened. Little did we know that the Master Chief Collection would be coming out a few years later. At the time it came out, it wasn't in great working order, but it's great now, and it has Halo 2 and Halo 2 remastered on it. So, continuing on, 2010, the Humble Indie Bundle, an experiment to indie charitable cross-platform DRM-free digital game distribution, is first released to great success. Still known today as the Humble Bundle, still a very popular thing. But this was in 2010, so 11 years strong. The PlayStation Move was launched in North America, Europe, and various Asian countries. To me, I felt it was a weird thing. Mikey, 100-bit donation, hip hip hooray. Thank you for that, sir. So the PlayStation Move, while it's used now for their virtual reality stuff, it was a huge gimmick, right? Peaceful, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the
Heard
show.
me screaming.
You did hear you screaming. Welcome to the show. Join us while you discuss 2010. But yeah, the PlayStation Move though, like I wasn't for it. It was gimmicky. It was like Sony's response to the Wii and that success. It became a vital piece of VR, and it's an important piece of tech now. But it's just it looks like two glowing ice cream cones. Like it's weird. What are your thoughts on the Move? We never had
Sorry,
one, so
I'm
I
still
don't know.
I'm still trying to pull up the thing. Are you talking about the PlayStation, like the VR with the ice cream cone looking things?
Yes.
Yeah, it just, I mean, it was like, I guess it's cool for what it was, but I feel like the Wii did it in a way that didn't make you look like a ridiculous, like, not a flight attendant, but like
I mean, you kind of look like a flight attendant. That's a good explanation.
oh, like those guys that like direct the planes off of the runway or whatever with their sticks.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like,
I know what you mean.
it just,
You're doing the
yeah,
hand
it just
gestures
looks-
of a flight attendant. The exits are this way and this way.
yeah.
Also released in 2010 was Microsoft's response to this, known as the Kinect. Met again with mixed reactions and criticism. Most notably, the people were like, they're spying on us. Like, come on, really? And then they made $20 little covers for it so you could cover the camera, just like people do on their laptops, because everybody's spying on everybody, apparently. What's up, Wilsona? Welcome to 2010. Also, the Xbox 360S was released in 2010, which was their slimmer and less red-ringed model of the console. I never had this one. We never had this one, I should say. I still have the OG launch model of the 360. The second one, I've had two, because the first one red-ringed. But yeah. Let's talk about games, though. That's what we're here for. We're going to discuss, again, our honorable mentions. Then we're going to give our top 10 picks. Chat, please participate. If you have a list made, you are amazing. If not, go to Wikipedia, search for 2010 in gaming, not tens, because those are two different articles. Search for 2010 gaming. Read through. It's all in order of release date. Scan through there and see what you can pick out. We'd love to see what you guys have in chat here as we go through it. But let's talk about our honorable mentions. Lana, do you have a list of honorable mentions?
I do. I have 11.
11.
Like I said,
A baker's
this
dozen.
is the first year. I know with this is the first time where I really struggled. Really struggled. Which I know I missed a few of the years, and I think that this would have been the case in some of those years. So I'm bummed that I wasn't able to participate. But anyway, 2010 honorable mentions. My first one is The Sims 3 came out for the consoles this year. Obviously, it had already been out on PC, but the game for the consoles came out, which I think at that time was the only way that I was able to play it, because I don't think we had a working PC when we moved over here. I think mine took a crap when we lived in Grand Rapids, and we weren't able to get one until well after we lived here for a while.
Yeah, no, that's completely accurate. We had gotten you all set up for The Sims 3. You had played it for maybe 6 months, and then it crashed.
Yep. And it was my old Dell PC, like from school, so it was well past its years. But I was so sad. And then so anyway, being able to play it on consoles, even though I couldn't have it on PC, was well worth the mention for me, because that at least gave me some consolation prize for not being able to play it the way I was used to.
I like what you did there. A consolation prize.
Consolation.
I don't even know if you realized what you did there.
This wordplay is why you invite me here, isn't it?
It's one of the many reasons.
All right. My next three are expansion packs for The Sims 3 on the computer, which I eventually did get to play in retrospect. I think that's the word I'm looking for. The first one was The Sims 3 high-end loft stuff. It had a bunch of high-end furniture items. So if you lived in like a downtown condo or just a bunch of higher-end looking furniture. But it also brought back items from The Sims 2, like the heart-shaped bed and an electric guitar and the aquarium. So it was kind of cool to see those like retro items from the second game available to purchase again. The second one is Sims 3 Ambitions, which expanded on something that The Sims 3 brought into the game, which was your Sims having life goals and ambitions and things like that. It brought new skills like sculpting, inventing, and tattooing. It brought new jobs and career tracks. I think the medicine track is new in this one. It brought new lifetime wishes for your Sims and new traits that they could choose. And then the one funny thing that I remember is in this game, you can actually die by a meteor. You can get hit by a meteor. And instead of just having a car, you could actually drive a motorcycle as well. So those were fun
Batman
additions.
says retrospect, another wordplay. Trevor wants to know what The Sims is.
You know what, Trevor? I am going to punch you the next time I see you in person for that. All right. And the last one is The Sims 3 Late Night, which added a downtown area to the home hub. You could go out to nightclubs and restaurants and take people out on dates. It also added mixology as a skill that you could become like a master bartender, and you could purchase like a professional bar for your home and entertain parties there and make drinks and stuff like that. So that was kind of fun. It kind of was a play on some items from like the herbs and some of the other expansion packs from previous games where there was like a downtown area to play in. So that was fun. That covers all of the Sims things that came out that year. My other honorable mention is Dragon Age Origins Awakening, which was an expansion for the game. I don't remember much about the story, but I do believe I was able to play this. I think we had the version that had all of the stuff included, but I feel like I remember this when I was reading about it. During this period of time, I was absolutely obsessed with Dragon Age. Dragon Age and Mass Effect took up basically all of my time at this period of time. Green Day Rock Band, which, as my husband's favorite band of Green Day, we had to have it. And boy, did we play the crap out of that. We played it so much, I remember.
That was a good one.
It was a good one, especially because they had come out with like their American Idiot and then the one after it with like Jesus of Suburbia and stuff.
That was not American Idiot.
Okay, so whatever.
21st Century Breakdown.
That's the one I was thinking of. But yeah, it had all those songs, and they're all like 7 minutes long. So like your fingers would fall asleep. Halo Reach, which apparently I have played. I don't really remember it, but what I do remember is the Forge edition. And I remember that you and Justin spent like hours creating your own maps. And just, I remember watching this more than I remember actually playing it. Call of Duty Black Ops, for obvious reasons. Kirby's Epic Yarn, which kind of started this whole thing that Nintendo is doing now, where they release these really weirdly themed games. Kirby's Epic Yarn, Yoshi's Woolly World, Yoshi's Craft World. Kirby's Epic Yarn was the first one that I remember. You could use yarn to turn them into like a car that would go up and down hills and stuff. It was kind of fun. Heavy Rain, which I'm guessing right now is actually on my husband's top 10 list. I'm not really sure, but he was obsessed with this game. It's branching storylines that are based on your choices, and you're trying to solve a mystery. At that time, it was incredibly, it was just innovative, so innovative when it came out, and I remember that. I remember the little origami thing that came with it that you had to fold while you were waiting for the game to load on the system. Anyway. And then Rock Band 3. The only reason it's an honorable mention is because it's still a Rock Band game. It basically gave you a lot more songs. And then they introduced Pro mode, where you could buy guitars with actual strings that you had to play with the frets. And then it introduced cymbals to the drum set. And then there was like the keyboard, so you could play the piano and stuff, which I liked, but it wasn't enough to get it on my top 10, but it was fun.
I am.
That's
Like I'm. Thanks for the host ads, and shout out to Jolly too for the host. If you guys have bandwidth issues, you can always turn off the video, and Twitch allows audio only. I don't know if that's iPhone or Android as well, but that's an option. This is a podcast. You're not going to miss anything really visually, to be honest. Besides my beautiful mug, Lana is just audio, so no beauty face for her tonight on the TV here that we spent thousands on for this. This is an expensive set, and she won't even be on it, but that's fine. She'll get phoned in. This is where all you guys wonder where the donations go. It's this set, this our own studio. It's expensive, okay? Super expensive. Anyways, I'm proud but yet disappointed with your honorable mentions. Proud because there are a lot of great games on there, but disappointed that they're not in your top 10, and it makes me most curious for what is actually in your top 10.
I think there's going to be a couple that you're like, what? Why is that on there and this one isn't? But
yeah, I mean,
that's
most certainly.
my list and not yours.
There are some when we get to our top 10, and I'm going to call you out on being disappointed in. I do have to say one this is a possible correction. Halo Reach, while Forge was in that, we spent majority of time in Forge and Halo 3. So I just wanted to put
Okay. I just read that there was Forge in this, and
There
I think
is.
that's my memory that like
they expanded
I mean, you
upon it.
guys.
But we spent because 2010, this is the year we moved across state.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
All right. Oh, whatever.
I just wanted to point that out there for accuracy of history here. I'm just looking at my honorable mentions, and I'm looking at some of them that you didn't mention that I'm obviously fairly certain they should be in your top 10. If they're not, I don't know who you are. But let's
see.
I had more than 11. I don't know how many exactly I have. I have a long list here. But here's my honorable mentions for 2010. Bayonetta, which was re-released on these consoles this year. It's been released in the past list, but I had to throw it on there again just because it's such a great game by Sega. If you have not played Bayonetta, I highly recommend it. It's a hack and slash game, kind of like God of War, the older classic God of Wars. And it's just a lot of fun. And the character design is Sega, so it's over the top. Somewhat sexual for kids playing it, so warning. She's not fully nude, but it's very implied. And her hair is basically like her suit. So, Mag. It was a PS3 exclusive that I wish would have gotten more support. Massive action game is the acronym, hence MAG. It was one of the biggest, I forget how many people was it. Was it 100, 50, 80?
256.
256. Good Lord. 256 person online multiplayer. Massive action game, exactly. This game was awesome. It had great online. It had like a health system, so it wasn't just one shot kill. It was a nice alternative to Call of Duty at the time, and it was just a fun game. And it just I don't know what happened with it, and it just went away. It never got a sequel, it never got anything else. I don't know if there's a spiritual successor. The company went on to do other things. I didn't do any research on it. I should have, but it's an honorable mention, so I didn't dive too deep into this. Another hack and slash game that I highly recommend, which is a complete ripoff of God of War, Dante's Inferno. If you don't know that story, then I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but it's the story of Dante's Inferno. Tropico 3, which is a simulation game. If you know anything about me, you know I love simulation games, and this is a really good one. Highly recommend the Tropico series, especially Tropico 3. If you haven't played it, play it. Deadly Premonition. Why did I buy this? Well, it was $20 brand new, and it's a horror game. And if you know anything about me, then you know I like horror games, and I'm cheap. $20 seemed like a steal. It's worth $20. It's got a neat story, but the reason it's $20 is because it wasn't a high budget game, and it shows. It's a somewhat broken game, but it's very unique and interesting. Think of like Twin Peaks type story. Interesting stuff. This one's for Mikey. Shout out. Battlefield Bad Company 2, honorable mention. God of War 3, Just Cause 2. The thing that really stood out to me was an Easter egg in this for Lost, which I discussed in a previous episode. Lost is a television series. that aired from 2004 to 2010, considered to be one of my favorite shows of all time. Skate 3, Super Mario Galaxy 2, UFC 2010, to me the last super good UFC game, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, Lego Harry Potter Years 1 through 4, Crackdown 2, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, Mafia 2. I knew I was going to get hate from Trevor. I was waiting for it. He says God of War 3 is an honorable mention. Unfollow. To be fair, God of War 3 is quite possibly the best in the franchise until the new one had come out. But wait till you hear the top 10 and you'll understand why based on what I like as interests. Mafia 2, going back to the honorable mentions. Dead Rising 2, Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, Def Jam Rap Star. You remember Mini Knights trying to be a rapper?
Oh, I didn't even see that on the list. That would have been an honorable mention.
Okay, yeah. So you basically rapped along to songs like a karaoke machine, and it had the music videos, and you got points.
We had a lot of fun with that when we first moved over here. That was fun.
It was a lot of fun. MX says, oh my God, we really are old. I was in middle school in 2010, and that was 11 years ago. Where's time? Dude, I was 25. You want to talk about time? At least you were in middle school. You're still young, man. Jeez. See, middle school, that was like 95. Jesus. Yeah, get off my lawn, goddamn kids, says Trevor. For real. We're not 40. Get out of here. Fallout New Vegas. A lot of people consider this their favorite Fallout game. It's not mine. I apologize. You can leave comments below. You can thumbs down this video. But I'm sorry, it's just not. Fable 3, the weakest one in that series as well, but an honorable mention because it's still a Fable game and it's still fun. The Sims 3, I know you praised it a lot in your honorable mentions. It's also an honorable mention for me. Possibly one of the best Sims games was The Sim 3, the one that I probably played the most. Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2, WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, Call of Duty Black Ops, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Donkey Kong Country Returns, and Epic Mickey. Those are my honorable mentions. As I said, a lot of games were played. We were 25.
Oh boy.
What?
Some of those honorable mentions. Oh boy.
What, such as?
Oh, we'll go over it, sir.
What, did I take a dump on you or something?
No. Okay, that was weird and gross. I just can't believe that how different our lists are going to be. It's going to be entertaining to see.
Oh, I'm sure. That's why I said when I heard yours, I'm like, where are what? Well, let's begin. Top 10s. Again, chat, if you have them, feel free to chime in. We want to know what you guys think. And girls, we're inclusive here. What's your top 10?
All right. Number 10 for me is... I almost read you number 1. Holy Moses.
Whoa,
number
don't
10
do
for
that.
me is... I know. Number 10 for me is Tropico 3. It was, I mean, you mentioned it in your honorable mentions, but I had a blast with this game. We got it through Gamefly, and I remember being sad when we had to send it back. You are the El Presidente of a Caribbean island country. It's heavily implied that it's like Cuba, obviously.
Right.
You have to manage a relationship with both the U.S. and the USSR. This is set before that breaks up. So you have to keep both of these huge people happy with the choices that you make. This is the first Tropico game where you can actually legalize same-sex marriage on your island, which I thought was a nice addition. And they also introduced the group of people, nationalists, who are obviously against immigration. They prefer if you hold all your jobs for Tropico residents only, things like that. But yeah, it's just like a SimCity type game. You know, you manage the production of crops and you make sure that people have jobs and education and keep them happy. But for some reason, like SimCity, I can only play for so long. This game, I think I played for like hours. I don't know why it felt so different than SimCity because it's essentially the same thing, just with like corn and tobacco instead of, you know, industry and farms or whatever, but I love this game. It was so much fun.
Well, I think it appeals to your political interests and being able to actually
Probably.
manage specific things as opposed to just appeasing a populace. You're appeasing like a nation as basically a dictator. And I think you have that in you deep down, that dictator. Like,
I don't know whether I am offended or flattered. A little of both. 50-50.
That's for you all to decide. But nobody says I'm wrong, so
Nope, not a single one.
yeah, no denial.
You're
there.
not wrong. I'll say it out loud. It's okay. It's all right.
It happens. Save me, you guys. Please help and save me.
All right.
Your donations can get me out of here. It's true.
Hashtag give us your money.
It doesn't go to her.
All right. What's your number 10?
My number 10 is BioShock 2. While this is incredibly surprising considering how much I absolutely adore the first BioShock so far in our journeys through the years, BioShock 2 somewhat let me down with having the main protagonist be a big daddy. While it gave interesting backstory and we got to explore more of Rapture, I wasn't certain that's what I wanted with the series at that time. I felt like there was more from the main protagonist from the first game I had wanted. And man, I was, in the years to come, so very upset with what would be revealed as BioShock Infinite later on and where it would be set. But did my opinions change? That'll be on a later episode. Find out tomorrow, actually, because we'll be doing another double feature tomorrow right here. But yeah, BioShock 2. The other thing they attempted to introduce was online play. And it was this big period of time where game developers...
Everything wanted to be online.
Yeah, every game had to have an online mode. And I didn't get it. I didn't know.
Single game. Dragon Age. Assassin's Creed.
Dead
like
Space.
Every single game. Like, guys, not Call of Duty. Please stop. Just stop, okay? Stop trying to be that and be what you are.
Well, the problem was they saw these people buying the games and then they were ending up in bargain bins or like resellers like GameStop. And then they weren't getting their money or their continued money. It's obviously capitalism, right? It's the gaming industry. They're $1 billion industry. Mm-hmm. But like, it's the good and bad about the industry. I love that they learn from other games and they try to follow trends, but I love games that have their own good, unique identity, and they need to stick with it. There was no need for BioShock 2 to have online. It was much like Dead Space 2. There was no need for it, but they did it. It didn't take away from the story because again, the story was good. It wasn't a strong entry in the series, and that's why I made my number 10.
Well, I totally agree with most of what you said. BioShock 2 is actually my number 9.
Hey, segue.
Same reasons. Like, if you were going to go back and do a somewhat prequel to the game or explore what Rapture looked like before the events of that game, I would have liked to see more of a story of, like, the Ryan guy or, you know, another resident of the place or something like that. I thought playing as a Big Daddy, while it was kind of neat to see how they came about, I didn't love it. And it had kind of it was different, but also really, really similar to the first one. You could either adopt the little sisters or harvest them. And then they introduced the big sisters that would attack you regardless of what you did, you know, kind of like the Big Daddies did in the first one. And I distinctly remember, this is probably why it's so low in my list, because I did have fun with it. But I got stuck on a level because the little sisters would randomly populate. Where in the first one, they were always in the same spot. Yes. These randomly populated out of like the tubes in the walls. Mm-hmm. And I got stuck on one level because you had to save so many little sisters or harvest so many little sisters in a level to get the outcome of the perfect outcome of the game.
There was too much escort stuff too. And I have a love-hate relationship with escort stuff.
But like I distinctly remember there was a level where I had to harvest or adopt 3 little sisters before I could move on if I wanted the perfect ending. And that last little sister never spawned. And I don't even think I finished the game.
Well, you should.
I honestly think I just quit because I was so pissed. Like, I wanted the perfect outcome. I had the perfect outcome in the first game. I saved all of the little sisters.
Ooh, I
You know,
didn't.
I got the good ending or whatever. And I was so annoyed. But the game was fun. And I played these games a lot by myself because you were working weird hours at that time.
Yes.
And it scared the bejesus right out of me.
The bejesus. What's up, Kira?
It
Thank you
did.
for coming to the show. Kira says, I enjoy escorts. It's confirmed. I said love-hate relationship. I didn't say enjoy escort services. Don't get it twisted here. Hold on to confirm or deny on air. But yeah. You really should go back and play the remastered bundle of BioShock.
Well, hopefully they fix that glitch because I was so mad.
I assume
mad.
so.
But anyway, it was still, like I said, it was a good game, but that's why it's my number 9. It's too similar to the first one. I didn't like playing as a Big Daddy. Yeah, same stuff.
It's my job.
That's my number 9.
It's my job during the week. I'm a big daddy.
Okay, anyway, what's...
My number 9 is Red Dead Redemption, their DLC, Undead Nightmare. This is considered a standalone game because you could actually buy this on disc by itself, or you could get it as a download, or the 2-pack when it was released later. You could buy the game and this. I love zombies and Wild West zombies. Okay, let's do this. It was such an interesting thing, and it was, GTA Cowboys with zombies.
This was another thing that every game did at that time, I feel like. Didn't Call of Duty add zombies too? Like,
Yes.
why does your game have to have online, and why does your
What
game have
year
to
did The Walking Dead come out
have... so
on the TV series?
I mean, I get it. I get why. It's just super annoying. I thought it was stupid.
I thought it was awesome. If you haven't played Undead Nightmare, honestly, do yourself a favor and check that out. Maybe that'll be something that I play this fall on the channel if you guys have never seen it, because it's been a long time since I played that game. I'm looking for something to play this fall because I need more spookies. But yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. I don't know how else to describe it. And it's really, like, it still tries to take place with the story, but it's not really.
Yeah, no.
It's fun. That's my number 9.
All right. My number 8 is Lego Harry Potter years 1 through 4. This game was so fun. So fun, which most of the Lego games are. I love the Lego games. Guilty. Love them. It only went through the 4th book, and so there was also that anticipation knowing that eventually 5 through 8 was going to come out, or 5 through 7, whatever. 7 is 2.
7.
But it was so much fun, though. Again, and probably why it's lower on my list, there was a glitch in this game.
I remember
One
this.
of the achievements. Yes, you had to hit the house banners in the big room, and the camera would not allow you to scroll up enough to hit that banner. So I think I have every achievement in this game except for one, which is infuriating.
Well, we do have the Xbox One re-release of it. I wonder if they fixed that, and I don't know if you've played
And I
that
think
yet.
I played that.
Did you?
I think I did, and I did fix it, yes, because I distinctly remember getting it and being like, oh my god. But either way, it was still so much fun to be immersed in that world, and the Lego games are just so much fun anyway. So much fun. And I am, and at this time especially, was obsessed with Harry Potter. So
Oh,
it's a good one.
fantastic franchise. Kira says I recently finally got around to completing Bayonetta. That was my honorable mention. They enjoyed. They say they have to enjoy playing an over-sexual witch killing angels. Yeah, that story is so quirky, but it's so awesome and fun. Again, I highly recommend Bayonetta. Thank you for the host, iRob. Welcome to the show. iRob says, we just beat the Lego Harry Potter one 100%. And Kira also loves Lego Star Wars. They didn't enjoy Hobbit or Lord of the Rings ones, though. I didn't love those ones either, to be honest. I'm very partial to the Star Wars ones myself. And Jurassic World, the collection of the Jurassic Park movies and world.
That one's fantastic.
That one's so good.
Yeah.
Um,
Number 8.
Number 8. So speaking of IRL, real quick shout out this Saturday for those that don't know, 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This Saturday afternoon, SummerSlam episode 400 of NAW. MX bugging IRL for that card yet. He hasn't even sent me the card yet, so I don't know if he's finished. He's been working hard on it. But that's this Saturday. Come celebrate with us, our 400th episode. It's just insane to me. That's this Saturday. For now, my number 8, though, is Mass Effect 2.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I was waiting. MX, I invited you. There's a post on social media. You're killing me, man. Jeez. You're killing me. Mass Effect 2. I get that this is so incredibly amazing that your creation carries over from game to game. Just what they did with the story, and correct me if I'm wrong, the beginning of this game, you're basically killed off and then you restart, right? That's this one, right?
I think so, yeah.
Because you meet that guy, the smoking dude or whatever. And
Yeah,
the
the
big-
in something man, the
Trevor says yes.
yeah.
Kira also confirms you get blown up. I have the remastered. I just haven't played it to 2 yet, so I don't remember. And yes, Mass Effect is awesome. It's number 8. It's not a bad game. People are getting twisted already like I'm crapping on it. I just didn't love. If I had to rank them, I would rank 2 my least favorite out of the trilogy, Andromeda being the worst one out there. But to me, it's like, why are you continuing the character story arc?
Universe nerd.
Thank you for the host,
acumen
Cody.
Wrestling.
You know what I mean? Like, what is the point of this continued narrative then if your character is just rebuilt? Like, it just felt cheesy. It was the way around having, like, what if someone didn't play one? How do we introduce them? I get that you can input things to have attributes in certain events that may have taken place in one, but the elusive man, thank you, Irob. But like,
Yeah, thanks for
I don't know. I felt like it was a cheap intro. I didn't love the beginning. So, and it's not a bad game. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's number 8 for a reason. It beat out a lot of good games on the honorable mentions list. I got like a hair in my eye and it's bugging the shit out of me. Oh, out of my eye. It's not where you go. Think was for people who played male wanted female or vice versa. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get why it was input. It just, if I had to give a critique, that'd be it. But again, it is a great game. It's number 8 on my top 10. That is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Lana getting mad that I put it at 8. I'm assuming it's higher on the list for her then. So, what is your number 7 then?
Number 7 for me is Just Cause 2. I had an absolute blast with this game, and I can't even tell you why. Blowing shit up and using your grappling hook to fly around the map. It's such a simple concept, but it's so much fun. And I think the completionist in me really likes like the, you go place by place and you conquer this part, then you conquer that part, and you conquer this part. And I think that appeals to that completionist in me where there's distinct progress and and finding everything to make each area 100%. And it was a lot of fun. It added that grappling hook and you could like grapple onto the back of cars and fly behind them on your parachute. And then there was the Lost Easter egg where they had the hatch in the ground in the one area of the island that I thought was cool because we were big into Lost. And I don't know, I had a ton of fun with this game. Ton of fun. It's a simple, silly game, but it was so much fun.
Kira says, oh no, the only thing I enjoyed doing in that game was putting rockets up cows' butts and then watching them fly around. That's the thing about that game that was so neat, though. The physics in it with the propane canisters and the various things with, like you said, the hang gliding and the grappling hook. That's what made it really neat. The vehicle mechanics. And for you, definitely having a base conquer where it gives you a percentage and specific tasks to do, that appeals to your OCD.
Oh, yeah.
Like you have a list and you have to complete it. That is you in a nutshell. That is your life. here are the things, and here are the things I need to do, and here's how I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to get it done. If one thing goes to the left or to the right of this straight plan I have, oh shit. That's you.
I don't know. Again, 50-50 offended and impressed. I'm not sure.
That is you. Kira says, personally think Far Cry is better than Just Cause. You know, here's the thing. I never really got into the Far Cry series. I feel like I want to and should have, but for whatever reason, I preferred Just Cause. Maybe it's because it was a Square developed game or distributed game. I don't know who developed or distributed. I know Square had involvement in it. But yeah, I've enjoyed those games. 3 and 4 were still moderately good, but 2 is a standout for sure. Yeah, good pick. That was your number 7. Did you leave me?
Yes, I'm sorry. That was my number 7. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, I got lost on my list again.
It happens. My number 7 is Green Day Rock Band. For the reasons that you had such described, it is one of my favorite bands of all time, and it has an incredible career mode where it starts them out in their early albums with smaller venues, all the way to their big stadium and arena tours with things like American Idiot, and then their recent release at that time of 21st Century Breakdown. I thought it spanned a really good history of that band, had just fun gameplay, and you get to play as the band, drums, bass, sing, guitar, whatever you wanted. If you had the instruments, you could play it. And it was a great add-on. And I personally think the only other standout will be in years to come that we talk about in the Rock Band series. I think you already know what I'm alluding to, but we'll get to that when that comes up. But yeah, Green Day Rock Band, if you're going to play one, that is one of them that I highly recommend, unless you just don't like that band and then don't play it. There are other bands that are on there as well. I couldn't name them, but they had like little opening act things and other bands like they played with over the years or something.
One of them the Maria Count Me In. I think
it?
I feel like I remember that because you're playing at like a festival. Now I don't remember. I don't know. I feel like it was.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna have to Google it.
Yeah.
I feel like it was because like you were playing at a festival, and maybe. I guess I don't know. Never mind. I don't know the answer to that.
Curious says, plus think it was because of Ubisoft, and Ubisoft was not really well liked. Yeah, you know, Ubisoft and EA, they've had like a history of good and bad things with their company as far as their model of trying to get your money. That could be a podcast in itself. In fact, I think we have talked about that before in angry detail. But yeah, that's my number 7. What you got?
All right. My number 6, right? That's what I'm on.
1 second, though. We got a new follow. Left, right, go! Welcome. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the show. Do you like the year 2010? That's what we're talking about. All right, what's your number 6?
All right, my number 6 is Mag.
Ooh.
I played the ever-loving out of this game, and I was so sad that nobody seemed to love this game as much as I did. Everyone was like, Call of Duty, and I'm like, no, come play Mag. It's way more fun. You could play with 256 players at one time, which at that time set a Guinness Book of World Record for the most amount of people playing online at one time. You essentially had platoons, small platoons of like 4 people that formed companies of 8 people. And they gave you a squad leader that was based on their ranking system. So the highest person in your set of 4 was your platoon leader. And then the highest person in your set of 8 was your squad leader. And you had mission. So there was like A, B, and C on your side of the map, and you had to take them over or defend them. And then once you had done that, you pressed forward in going from defense to offense, where you tried to take over the other teams. So there was like 150, what is that? I'm really bad at math. 256 divided by 2. That many people on either side.
120.
Huh?
120.
Okay, so 128 on either side. And again, those are split up into like platoons or whatever. And you were basically going against each other. It was so much fun. And I think it helped that I was like good at it. I was better at it. Call of Duty, and it's still the case, I literally spawn and die 90% of the time. Like, it's very, very rare that I spend more than 2 minutes alive before I'm murdered quickly. I'm terrible at it. And Halo, like, I'm not awful, but I'm also not good. But Mag, I was good because you had objectives, and like you could like direct your team with commands, and you could tell people where to go, and you could mark enemies, and it felt really immersive and fun, and there was all of these people playing at the same time, and I don't know, I had an absolute blast with that game. And like I said, the longer it went, the less and less people played, and because it was a completely online game, when there was no one to play or match with, there was no game. And I was so sad when it finally, and I don't think it shut down until like 2014, but by that time, no one was playing anyway because no one was playing.
Yeah, the new consoles had launched. This was a PS3 exclusive to my understanding. Mag stands again for massive action game. And no, it's not the Meg, the Megalodon with Jason Statham. It's an interesting, fun movie that's not this. So having this as an honorable mention, then you were probably disappointed in that.
No, I expected that. You were not as into that game as I was. You didn't enjoy it.
I mean, it was fine. It was fun. It just nobody we knew played it.
Yeah, and it was. I just really, really liked it, and I think part of the reason why I liked it so much is because I didn't suck at it, and I really sucked at Call of Duty, and I wasn't that great at Halo either. So it was fun to actually be good at a shooter and to succeed, and like I got to be squad leader a ton of times because I was ranked up so high, and it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
You just enjoy bossing people around.
You know me. I'm a dictator. We talked about this already.
See, there's a whole theme here tonight, folks. Painting this lovely picture. My number 6 is a controversial pick, as a lot of people crapped on this game and still continue to crap on this game. I keep hoping for a re-release or a way to play it on modern systems, because I would absolutely love to play this one again. And that game is Final Fantasy 13. This game was critiqued for being linear, which was one of the many things that I heard around that time, which, in all honesty, most Final Fantasy games are linear. It's a linear story. There's not huge things of mass exploration in any of the past Final Fantasy games, so I don't know where people were getting that from. Maybe they were basing it on other games at the time that had somewhat open world exploration, and they were disappointed. But it's a Final Fantasy game. There's an objective. You go from A to B to C to D, and you level up. That's not the value of the game. The value of the game is the music. The value of the game is the art direction. The value of the game is the characters that you come across. And the characters, while some stereotypical, mildly potentially offensive, were still fun and you know, kind of cute and just likable characters. And it spawned a trilogy of Lightning, Final Fantasy 13-2, and then Lightning Returns. Even Kira says they loved 13, and it gave Lightning, which is by far your favorite Final Fantasy character, one of my favorites as well. Lightning, Hope, that relationship, and there's just so many likable characters in it. I understand the problem with the leveling system and the builds. It took me about 21 hours to go beyond what the characters were designed to be as far as their character types, like the mage, the heal, so on, like your standard things. You could create them to be something different on your support things. But at that point, like I didn't care. That I was already invested in what these characters were supposed to be. I did like that I could tweak them and change them, but it wasn't needed. Cody says Final Fantasy is poo-poo? No. No.
Thank you, Cody.
No.
Somebody gets it.
No, you're so wrong. You're so wrong. 13 is fantastic, though. I really enjoyed it. And I liked the sequels. Trevor says, ban this man. I was going to say, Trevor plays 14 all the time. That's one thing that Trevor and I agree on. You just made the list! Cody with a gift to Kira. A sub there. Thank you so much for the gift, Cody. Kira, you're getting all those lovely emotes. Try it out. Feel free. It's fun. But yeah, I tried to get Lana to play 13. You wouldn't play it.
No, Final Fantasy isn't my thing. I'm with Cody. It's poo poo.
Hurts my soul. Hurts my soul. Trevor's playing 14 right now. So there you go. See? Fishing Lightning, like maybe 5 weeks ago. We'll have a podcast just for Final Fantasy one day. There's a lot to talk about there.
Yuck. I'm not going to watch it.
Fine. Maybe it'll be me, Trevor, and Kira then. And we'll have a jolly old time.
Have a good time, guys.
We will.
Jolly old time.
It'd be great.
All right.
It'd be great.
Moving on from the poo poo game.
Please do.
My number 5 is Mass Effect 2. This Mass Effect and Dragon Age took up all of my time during this period of time. I played the crap out of them. I loved these games. Mass Effect 2 actually introduced more focus on side missions. So they weren't just like you went to a planet, scanned some shit, and you were done. There was really intense, important side missions that didn't just feel like a throwaway thing for you to do to add time to the game. And then it also introduced magazines for the guns versus overheating. So you actually had to worry about ammo running out or having to reload during shooting versus your gun just overheating and not working for 5 minutes, which was super annoying in the first game. The shooting, the combat mechanics in Mass Effect games leave much to be desired anyway, but this one did improve over the first one. And the story gets deeper. You learn more about the Reapers and all that kind of stuff. It's just a great game. Really good game.
Yeah, the planet stuff, I don't know. I feel like everyone's mad at me for putting it at 8.
I mean, it's an opinion. No one's mad at you for it.
Yeah, but they are, though. I get hate mail.
In your top 10.
I get hate mail. It's true.
You get hate mail.
It's true. So my number...
But yeah. Yes, Cody, Dragon Age, top 5 of all time. 100%. The Dragon Age games are so freaking good. Now I want to go back and play them all, now that I've done this whole thing. Anyway.
The only one
Moving
I
on.
mildly enjoyed was Inquisition.
Shut your whore mouth and move on to your number 5.
For real, though. My number 5 is a interesting game that I thought kind of reinvented the horror game genre slightly. Alan Wake. We were actually watching a Let's Play of this the other day. And it's true, Cody. The hate mail is just you harassing me. You and Trevor. It's nonstop. But yeah, Alan Wake, you're an author who is going to their house in the woods to basically be inspired again by things happening. Opens my messenger. What? Such a good story, says Cody. So the neat thing about Alan Wake, and this is what really makes it really special, is you have to go into the light to basically be in safe areas. When you're not in the light, you are equipped with a flashlight to blind the shadow creatures. And when you basically point the flashlight at them enough, you can then shoot the gun at them to make them vulnerable. The flashlight makes them vulnerable to then cause them harm and make them go away until you get to the next checkpoints. It's again very Twin Peaks like inspired story, a small town in a Seattle type vacation area, and it's such a indeed Curious is such a deep story. It's got great environments, great story. It doesn't take too terribly long to finish, about 6 to 7 hours, which to me is a great length for a game. Games don't need to necessarily be dozens and dozens of hours to be good. You can tell a fantastic story in under 10 hours. And for those that have not a lot of time, I think that's a really good thing to have games like this. And Trevor, you made a good point here. We've been waiting a long time for a sequel or something inspired. Trevor asked the question, have I ever played Control? It takes place in the same universe as Alan Wake. Yes, I have played Control. And I did enjoy Control. I think that's another really good story. Obviously, same developers. But I don't want like an inspired same world sequel. I would love a direct sequel, not the American God, what is that called? American Tragedy or something. I can't remember. It was like a DLC. It wasn't the same. I don't know. It was a unique game, and it wasn't the same. Love the Ashtray Maze and Control, says Trevor. Adaptation was Kira. But yeah, Alan Wake. Honestly, it's...
Also,
Go ahead.
before we move on, isn't Alan Wake one of like the first games? I don't think it was the first, but it's one of the first games that you reviewed on Box News, which is essentially DNA's precursor, right?
Yeah, that was, I think, episode 2.
Yeah, you walk around at night on a street and review it. Like, you can't even see your face. You're just walking around.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, I've been attempting things like this for many, many years on YouTube. 11 years ago, when this came out in 2010, I actually did a review of Alan Wake. It's on my personal YouTube channel if anyone's ever interested in that. That show lasted 95 episodes. It was called Box News, Unbiased Reviews. It was a mockery of Fox News because, they're unbiased news. Weird, tickle in my throat. So it was just essentially that. It was Box News, like a video game box, which is a console. Yeah, the review's not great. I'm going to tell you right now. I was very early on in what I was doing. My first review was actually for the Halo Reach beta. And you still point out that I was wearing holy socks.
Yes, you were.
And
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I had no clue what I was doing. Sometimes I still have no clue what I'm doing. So
You were trying to find your people. That's what you were doing.
I was doing something. But if you're ever curious where this all started 11 plus years ago, it's there on my personal YouTube if you want to go down a rabbit hole. I apologize in advance. The content's not great, but we got to start somewhere. Anyways, as you said, that Fox News just got $5 million for another fake story. Jesus. But yeah, that's my number 5. Let's continue on.
All right. My number 4 is Mario Galaxy 2. Again, I had a blast with this game. The first game is fantastic, and this one introduces the Lumas and Rosalina, who is now like my favorite Mario Kart character. You're on a spaceship, and instead of going from world to world, you go from galaxy to galaxy, and then there are worlds inside of the galaxies. And they really play with terrain a lot more, but it's a really good sequel to the first game. It's a lot of fun. The story is fantastic. You can just play through the story, or you can go, crazy completionist and find every single thing. But it's a great, great game. Super fun.
So Super Mario Galaxy 2, for those that want to play it, I believe the only place that you still can play it is on the Wii, or if you have a Wii U, you can play the Wii copy of the game in your Wii U. For whatever reason, it wasn't included in the 3D All-Stars release last year, and that was Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and the first Super Mario Galaxy. For whatever reason, they left out Galaxy 2. Many people thought they were just going to get a separate port for that, but nothing. I don't understand. Because I never finished that one and I really wanted to play it. It could have changed my honorable mention pick. Actually, there is a Box News episode for these games as well, which features you reviewing them.
Holy moly. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
You've suckered me into doing this an awful lot, it seems.
Sure have.
All right, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Rock Band 3, which reasons you've already mentioned: keyboard support, better gameplay, just greater song lists you can import from your other games and just keep building upon your catalog. And at this point, we had hundreds of tracks to play, and boy, did we play.
Oh boy, yes we did.
And that's my number 4. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Epic Mickey. I really struggled with my top 3. I struggled. I'm still not sure if I agree with my own picks, but I think I do. They're also good. All 3 of these games that I have in my top 3 are so good. But Epic Mickey, I put at number 3. Maybe because it was the least intense, I guess. But it was so much fun. You play as Mickey, who gets a hold of Yensid's paintbrush. And of course, Yensid, if you don't know, is the wizard from like the Fantasia where Mickey puts on his hat and he makes the brooms and everything start doing his chores for him, which of course ends in disaster. But that guy's name is Yensid, which is Disney backwards. But anyway, in this game, he paints, and he has painted a world. Well, Mickey gets a hold of his paintbrush and ruins the painting. It turns it into a wasteland version of what Yensid had created, and he falls in and has to work his way through this world. All of the worlds are like twisted versions of areas from Disneyland and Walt Disney World. So there's areas like that look like Adventureland, or that look like the bayou from the Haunted Mansion area. And it also has old characters from old Disney films like Clarabelle Cow, and even Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, which, if you didn't know, Oswald is the original character that Disney created. He created it, and unfortunately, he signed a contract with his previous boss that gave them ownership of everything he made before he left. So when he left, he lost the rights to Oswald and therefore created Mickey Mouse, which obviously we know what happened. And then they bought Oswald back. So I guess he wins in the end. But he's in the game. It's so fun to play because it's twisted versions of those areas that you already know. Like it's a small world area, and there's area like Adventureland and Futureland and all this stuff, but they're just slightly twisted. And it is a serious blast to play. It is such a fun game. And then at the end, of course, Yensid gets his wand back, and but Mickey finds that the ink blot is still inside of him, which sets it up for a possible sequel. But just a really, really fun game to play. Especially if you love Disney and all the Disney characters. It's a blast.
I probably remembered that back then, but until you said it now, I didn't remember that was Disney backwards. And that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kier asks, what does he have to do to repair them? Basically, you have your with the Wiimote and nunchuck, you have a paintbrush, but you have the paint, and then you have, what is the other?
Ink blot.
Yeah, so you just remove or paint, and it changes. It's basically just a long puzzle game, figuring out platforming, just cleverly.
And it kind of plays on like Mario Sunshine. Remember how you used to have to wash off the little M that got stuck everywhere, or wash off the paint, stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of that in there. You either have to redraw things, like there's pieces of the building that are missing, so you have to redraw that, or the ink has spilled all over something, so you have to clean it up, or and then while you're doing that, you have to find things and help people. Like one guy's house is broken down, so you have to go into another house and find a piece and bring it back, or you have to. But it's little missions inside of these smaller worlds that attach to this bigger open area that are all based in Disneyland or Disney World areas. So if you've been to the parks, it's even more exciting because you're like, oh my God, this is totally looks like Frontierland, or it totally looks like this part of the park, or, it's just fun connecting it to those places that we already know and those characters that we love. And especially like, I don't know, when we were kids, when we were little kids, Disney put out a lot of like shorts, right? And you would get them on videotape and you could watch them. Because obviously there was no Disney Plus or Disney Channel, or at least not where I grew up. We didn't have cable.
Mhm.
And there are a lot of characters from like the old Disney shorts that we used to watch that I was like, oh my God, I remember that character. Like before Goofy, there was Clarabelle Cow, and she's in it. And there's a ton of other characters like that whose names I can't remember or whatever. But it was just so fun to play through it and be like, holy crap, I remember that short from when I was a kid. I know what this is based off of. I know I've been to that part of Disneyland. I know what that's based off of. It's a lot of fun, and it's like a wholesome game. It makes you feel good. It was a really fun game to play.
Kira asks, do you just play as Mickey or are there unlockable characters?
I think you just play as Mickey.
Yeah, that's
In
what
this
I
one.
remember too. I don't remember being
Yeah.
unlockable stuff. There is a sequel. I don't know if there were unlockable characters in that one though either.
I think Epic Mickey 2, you can play as both. I think it was like one of those games that introduced co-op. You
Yeah,
could
because
play
the Power
as
of Two,
Mickey.
I believe, was the game.
Right. And you play as Mickey and Oswald. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
think you can play as any other characters. You just play as Mickey and Oswald in that one too.
Yeah. Cody wasn't allowed, or you weren't old enough, I'm assuming, to go to Disney is what he meant there. That's a disappointment.
And to be fair, Disney is really, really expensive.
It is.
So some
LaRoche-
people just wouldn't have been able to go. Literally the only reason that my family could afford to go is because my uncle worked there. So we got a family discount, because otherwise we would have never been taking a family trip to Disney World. It was way too expensive.
Child support money for my parents.
Oh my God.
She says, I never wanted to go to Disney. Dollywood was always my go-to.
I want to go to Dollywood
Oh,
sometime in my life. I want to go.
All right, now
It'd be so much fun.
Cody says that he wasn't loved enough to go to Disney. Well, damn.
I am not getting all of the chats because I am not seeing these. That's depressing, Cody. Jeez Louise.
Talk about a heavy rain on him.
Hey.
Which is my number 3 pick. The game Heavy Rain.
I knew it was going to be on your top 10.
Did you? You felt confident?
Oh, I knew it. I knew it. Yep.
Did you
I
think
said that when we were doing. I said that.
I know.
Because it was in my mentions.
Did you think it would rank high or low? Or?
I knew it would be in your top 5. I didn't think it would be your number 1 this year, but I knew it would be up there for you.
So I also reviewed. Actually, a vast majority of these games on this list, to be honest, were reviewed in Box News. So if you want to go down memory lane, check it out. I apologize in advance, but if anyone is curious, shoot me a message. I'll send you the link. But Heavy Rain, you love Heavy Rain because the one glitch. Oh yeah. He says, Sean, you were a Hershey Park kid, which makes sense because that was close proximity to you, Cody. I've been to Hershey Park. But yeah, Heavy Rain is an interesting game. I had to get this one because I saw what it was promising to be, and you literally wake up, you're getting ready for like a birthday party for one of your kids, and you just go to the bathroom, you can pee, you can shave, you can head down into the living area, and then talk to your wife and have these words of exchange, and then getting ready, you go to the mall. And then you're walking around having a great day, picking out gifts and things for your kids. The one kid gets a balloon, runs ahead out the door of the mall, and you're yelling for him because he's, not sticking with you. They're running ahead. He's being a kid. So you're yelling, Jason, Jason. And he runs out into traffic and gets hit right in front of your whole family. And things turn for the worse. Then you do yell Jason for a while, says Trevor. You do. Just the innovative gameplay, the decisions you make, the choices you have to do in this game, and the different characters you play as, unraveling this mystery of the origami killer. And thank you for the host, Storm. It's just... I don't even know how to begin to describe it. It's such an interesting concept for a game, and it just appealed to me so much for whatever reason, and I don't even know how to describe why. It is incredibly
I think because
depressing.
it's depressing and dark.
Yeah, it's just depressing and dark, is what I like. But no,
It is a super depressing game, but it's also really immersive. And it was one of the first games that did that, or at least the first game that I remember playing that really did that. Like, you felt like you were the character. When that kid dies, you're like, holy shit, my kid just died. And like, this is before we had children.
Mhm.
So we didn't really know what that felt like. Like, obviously playing the game now, it would feel different, but it was like, oh my God, I let my kid die. Holy shit. Like,
And then you have
and, like,
moments
obvious-
too where you have to like torture yourself, cut off a finger. You have like you're a detective in one of them. Like you just play all these unique characters and all these stories surrounding the origami killer and trying to figure out this murder, this murderer.
yeah.
It's a fun game. It's really neat. It's slow moving. It was supposed to get DLC episodes though. I think it got one, maybe two. I don't know whatever happened to support for that game, to be honest with you. Now that I'm thinking about it, I may do a deeper dive into that one day too, because it's been a while since I touched that one. That is available on my PS5. I could download it again, but I don't know what happened to the extra content.
One of your next podcasts needs to be a box news review. So like re-reviewing all of the games that you reviewed in box news.
Just like the
While you play
completionist, where he goes back.
Yeah.
And
Where it goes back. Yeah.
we'll do DNA New Game Plus. Good Lord, just redoing all our old
All right.
content. But yeah, that
All
was
right.
3.
So my number 2 is Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, real quick. Sorry to interrupt you. Kira says,
no.
I liked Heavy Rain because I remember watching my dad play Fahrenheit. Yes, Fahrenheit, otherwise known as Indigo Prophecy. That was the precursor, same type of game, gameplay and stuff as Heavy Rain. So I just wanted to point that out. Thank you for pointing that out, Kira. Go ahead. Number 2, sorry.
Yeah, no, number 2 is Red Dead Redemption. This is well, it's not the first. Okay, I shouldn't say that, but this is an amazing, immersive, realistic. I think it's an RPG, right? Am I right in saying that? I still get like the kinds of games all mixed up all the time, but
Kind of role-playing game, yeah. Open world role-playing sandbox.
yeah, I just remember being amazed at how immersive it was and how big it was. Like,
She said.
that's what she said. It was super realistic. You know, I think they used mocap for the characters, so of course all the characters look super realistic. The amazing storyline. There were parts where you could go down into Mexico and come back, and just the emotions. Even the side stories like stuck with you. I remember the one about the one his wife died, and you had to like do something for her grave or something. It was just a really fantastic game, and the story, especially the way that it ends, like you really feel this sense of, you know, at first you feel the sense of like, oh, the completion for the character's story, and then the revenge aspect that takes over at the end, and just a really, really great game. Such a good game.
I agree, 100%. Also reviewed, if you want to go down way memory lane, Box News did one. This was one of the first episodes where I got real comfortable with myself on camera, and you could see in that episode. But my number 2 is also Red Dead Redemption, so good pick and placement for that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I can't say enough. I know I had Undead Nightmare up on my list at number 9, but Red Dead, fantastic game, especially if you're not even into westerns. Like people said GTA with horses with cowboys and stuff. Kira says, I never got to play Red Dead, but I really enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 2 if the story world is anything like that. You know, in all honesty, I liked Red Dead better than Red Dead Redemption 2. And I know there's a Red Dead Revolver before it, but I enjoyed Red Dead Redemption more than I enjoyed 2 for whatever reason.
I couldn't get into it either. And I think there's something to be said for the fact that we have children, and getting into an RPG that takes that much effort is a little difficult for us now where it wasn't before.
Yes.
But I still, I mean, this is one of those games that I wish I could go back and replay as it's my first time.
I wish I could go back again and play it like it was my first time because it was so much fun.
You need a neuralizer from Men in Black.
Yeah, right.
Cody says, yes, to answer Cody's question, yes. That is available on my OnlyFans account. Feel free to send me money, and I will... Just kidding.
Hashtag give us your money.
For real, though. For real, Lana needs it.
All
She
right.
needs money. She needs
So we're on to number 1.
All right. Is your number 1 The Sims?
It is not.
What? That was in your honorable mentions, all the DLC. Did you say the main game was as well?
The main game for PC came out in a previous year. It only came out on consoles this year.
Oh my goodness. What is your number 1 then? I'm trying to go through my list. I don't know. What is your number 1?
My number 1 is Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
I should have known. Should have known.
I am very disappointed in you. It is the second game in Ezio's story. It takes place mainly in Rome, which I think is part of the reason why it has my heart. I have been to Rome, and at the time this game came out, I'd been to Rome like 3 times, honestly, which really makes me sound snotty. I will never say that again. But just being able to play in a city that you have been to is awesome, because like you can run around and be like, oh my god, I remember that. Oh my god, I remember that. Like it was just so much fun running around in all of these landmarks that I had seen in real life. I'm just like when you had, what's that game that was set in New York City? Watch Dogs or Chicago or whatever.
GTA. Watch Dogs was Chicago. GTA was New York.
Yeah, and then there was GTA New York. Yeah, it was awesome to be able to be like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what that looks like. That's, it was so unbelievably fun. And then this is also one of the first games where Desmond can leave the Animus at almost any time that you want to. You're not like stuck only coming out of it during those cutscenes where they let you out of it for 5 seconds and then put you back in. You could get out of it at any time and walk around the area. They were in a city hiding out, from the Jesus, I feel like a horrible person the Templars.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were in this big city hiding out. So you could get out of the Animus and run around the city that you were in there as Desmond, and then go back into the Animus and run around Rome as Ezio. And then, huge spoiler alert, if you have not played this game or in the series, and you're going to, which it's been 11 years, people, get your crap together. At the very, very end, you finally learn a little bit more about what you've been finding. So like there's been all these flashes that have taken place with the people that came before and all of this, but one of them actually comes and speaks to Desmond. Her name is Juno, and she takes over Desmond's body, and you stab Lucy. And Lucy is the assistant in the very first game when you're playing Altair's story, who then breaks you, is with you and your 2 friends, Sean and Rebecca, during the whole leading up to this game. And you literally walk toward her with the apple of Eden in your hand, and you stab her, and she dies, and you fall into a coma. It was just so shocking at the time. I remember playing it and being like, no, don't make me do this. And you literally stab her, and it's not a fake. It's not a dream. Like, you literally kill her. And I just remember being so shocked, and then like, now I gotta wait how many fucking years for the last game in this story to figure out what happens. And it's just, again, another immersive game with hours and hours and hours of play that is just so good and so enjoyable. Assassin's Creed is one of my favorite series, and this game is one of the best in the whole series. It's such a good game.
Going back to Red Dead, Curious says it's very time consuming because it's a game where you need to spend a few hours in, and not really a game where you can pick up and put down in an hour, which I think that's a lot of the reasons why I play what I play now, because I don't have time to commit on nights that we're not live with you guys here to put in a couple hours in a game. If I do, the other option is just turn on the television and do nothing, which a lot of times is the easier option, right? You're just so tired. So understandable. Cody says that's the best Assassin's Creed. Kira asks you, or Cody also says, I love the upgrading of places. Kira says, so Lana, if you could pick even up now, if you, sorry, English. If you could play Brotherhood now, is it still your favorite, or has that changed over the years? Kira's favorite is Black Flag because of the sea shanties battles and so on. Really enjoyed that one. I'm going to have to agree
Black,
with Kira on
yeah.
that sentiment.
I adored Black Flag. I loved Black Flag. I do not love the sailing missions, but I did love Black Flag. But I think of all of the games, my favorite one is the first Ezio story. I don't know. It's hard. It's a tie between this one and that one. This one with the two different worlds, it felt like you kind of got two different games. And I'm with Cody. The upgrading of the buildings started, where, you know, this introduced a lot of elements that I really, really enjoyed. I think this one would edge out the first Ezio game, you know, Assassin's Creed 2, I guess is what it's really called. Just slightly. I think this one is my favorite of all of the games. The story is good in and out of the Animus. The upgrades are good. The combat got better. It was just a really solid game. And I also have to agree with what she said before. I have not completed Odyssey or the newest one, the Viking one. I don't think I've even started it for that reason. The time. I don't have the time that I used to be able to sit and sink into these games. You know, during this period of time, Travis was working second shift. I was working first. So I would work and come home to an empty house, which about 90% of the time, Travis had a game queued up for me with a warm blanket in the dryer because he's a sweetheart. And I would just literally sit on the couch and play video games for the 8 hours he was at work. That was what I did. And I think that's why this year was so hard, is because that's what I spent my time doing in the evenings. But this game, I think I 100% at this game easily. It's a fantastic game.
Cody says Brotherhood is still my favorite. Trevor says never played any Assassin's Creed until Origin or Odyssey, Platinum both, and Valhalla. The newer ones are such a different experience, but honestly, I like where the series has progressed. Kira says I completed Odyssey. The world and the fact that you gave choice to male or female would affect the story. The world is beautiful because I love that kind of lore. Yeah, they honestly, the games are fantastic and they continue to be. They're just too massive, in my opinion, but they're fantastic games.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Ezio games and that story arc, there is the ability now to play the Ezio collection. It's basically a mildly remastered bundle of those, which, Lana, we do have. If you did want to go back and explore those worlds one more time. Which leads us to my number one pick, the final here, which should be an obvious. Would you like to guess, chat? Lana, anyone want to give it a guess? What's my number one pick?
I'm looking to see what I haven't mentioned. Is it, or what you haven't mentioned, I'm sorry. Is it Halo Reach?
It is Halo Reach.
Okay, I thought so.
One of my favorite stories in the entire Halo saga. I
feel like Halo Reach is Star Wars Rogue One of the Halo world.
It essentially is. It's a creative, unique story which pits together a bunch of top people trying to escort the success of the Spartan mission out of there to basically set up Combat Evolved and Master Chief. And Reach is the last standing planet in the defense of the Covenant taking over into this war. And spoiler, one by one, everyone dies. And the last mission you can't beat. You are standing there in an overtaken world from Covenant forces by yourself. And as you take damage, your shield begins to crack and chip away as your health depletes and you run out of ammo. And the waves of enemies, you can try fighting. It'll just keep going. But eventually you will die. And that's how the story ends. And it was such a spectacular story arc. The gameplay was so good. The visuals were incredible. The online was a lot of fun. And it might be one of my favorite Halo games. So good.
It's literally Halo Rogue One.
Halo Rogue One. It's a great way to describe it. Cody says your list wins. And Kira says, I never got to play Halo, only recently got to play Gears of War 3 because of rated ass. It was on sale and he decided Gears 3 is fantastic. You made a good decision picking that up. You played 40 minutes. You shut it off and refunded it. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Gears is fantastic. I don't know. I love the Gears franchise. That could be an episode and stuff too. But yeah, I could talk Halo all day. We could play Halo all day. We have played Halo before all day. There's going to be a lot of Halo on this channel in the near future. I did jump the gun there. I highly recommend everyone this fall getting Game Pass. Halo Infinite is going to be part of Game Pass. At least the multiplayer is going to be free. The campaign itself, I believe, is going to be Game Pass, but multiplayer is going to be free for everyone, regardless of Game Pass. We're going to have a debate podcast someday soon, Cody, regarding your Gears is clunky and poo-poo remarks. We're going to have a versus show, a debate, if you will. Because I take offense to that, sir. That was Kira's issue with it, too. That's the point of the game. Good Lord, people. Anyways,
Let's move on.
We shall. This has been episode 125 of the Dosage Podcast, where we discussed the year 2010 in video games. Stick around if you're here with us live right now. That's you guys, chat. Stay with us, because we're going to take a brief 30-second standby, and then we're going to go into the year 2011 for the second half of our double feature here tonight. How exciting! Yay!
Yeah.
But for real, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to load up 2011. Get your lists ready. We want to know what your picks are. We're going to have ours ready, and we're going to dive in, and we'll be right back. For those that tuning in on our audio version on podcast platforms, thank you. Stay tuned. We got more content coming for you. We'll be right back.